kids, how are you all doing? So, just looking at the picture behind me, you can guess which topic we are going to discuss today. Huh? Can you guess? Yes. So, the topic is Human Skeletal System. Okay, this is one of the most interesting topic, right? And it is that topic which is surely also going to come in the NEET exam. Okay, so stay focused, and in the session itself, in today's session itself, we are going to count all 206 bones of our body. Right? Amazed, no? How many bones are we having? Do you know? 206 bones. Yes, my dear, 206 bones in the body, and all 206 bones we are going to discuss today in our session. Okay, so chalo, let's start. We are talking about the human skeletal system in detail today. Now, first of all, what exactly is the skeleton? Right? What is a skeleton? Skeleton, our body skeleton is endoskeleton first of all. What is the meaning of endoskeleton? That means the skeletal network, the system of bones, the system of cartilage that is present inside our body. Okay, so our skeletal system, it is consisting of a network of bones and few cartilages. Now, bones, you know, bacha, right? Bones, you know, it is made up of a very hard matrix. Why? Why the matrix is very hard? Because there are calcium salts present in it. Correct? So that makes the bones very hard. And our skeletal system is also made up of cartilage. Now, where is cartilage in our body? Here, this is cartilage. Okay, the tip of the nose. Yes, this is cartilage. So, bones are made up of, the skeletal system is made up of bones as well as the few cartilages. And cartilages, no, in the cartilages, the matrix is very pliable. What is the meaning of pliable? Pliable means it is very flexible. So that pliability is actually coming due to the chondroitin salts. So this part is clear, this part is sorted, that yes, our skeletal system is made up of bones as well as cartilage. Now, in today's session, we are going to discuss about the number of bones. But before this, tell me, what is the function of the skeletal system? Is our skeletal system having some functions? Yes, it is having functions, ma'am. What functions it is having? It is having a significant role, first of all, in the movement that is shown by the body. The writing that I am doing, see on this board, the writing that I am doing, that is because of these fingers. And the fingers movement, the body movement is directly dependent on whom? The bones, as well as muscles definitely. So, significant role of movement is played by the skeletal system. Then, simple activity like chewing our food. Okay, so imagine chewing the food without jaw bones. Our jaw bones are helping in chewing the food. All right, then, okay, the walking that we are doing, that, the support of the organs, the protection of the organs. Okay, so these are some of the functions of our skeletal system. Got it, Baba? Now, the skeletal system of our body is divided into two parts. Okay, first of all, as I told you, 206 bones, they make up the skeletal system. Correct? And the skeletal system is divided into two parts. Principally, it is divided into two parts. One is called as the axial skeleton and the other is called as the appendicular skeleton. Okay, now what is the axial skeleton? The bones, the set of the bones which are present in the axis, which are forming the axis of the body, they are called as the axial skeleton. And the set of the bones which are forming the other parts apart from the axis, okay, the appendages mainly, they are forming the appendicular skeleton. So you can see over here, the bones which are green in color over here, they are forming the axis of the body, Baba. And these bones, you can see the green ones here, the limbs, the girdles, they are forming the appendicular skeleton. Okay, so first we will talk about the axial skeleton and then we are going to talk about the appendicular skeleton. Okay, so let's have a look, alright. So let's have a look at the axial skeleton. Okay, now let's talk about the axial skeleton in detail. Alright, so now we are going to talk about the axial skeleton. Okay, so you can see over here, the axial skeleton comprises of 80 bones. Okay, so in the starting I told you there were how many bones in our skeletal system? There were 206 bones, right? And out of those 206 bones, the axial skeleton alone, it comprises of the 80 bones, bache. So we are going to talk about all these 80 bones, right? First, this part you can see, this is the axial skeleton. This entire thing is the axial skeleton. Okay, and this is our appendicular skeleton. So first, let's primarily focus on this particular skeleton, that is axial. Now, axial skeleton, it consists of what? It consists of the skull. So we'll talk about the skull. It consists of vertebral column. It consists of sternum, and it constitutes of the ribs. All right. So these four parts we are going to discuss. These four parts we'll see it comprises to form the 80 bones. Okay, so let's talk about the skulls first. The human skull is composed of two set of bones. So in the skull, there are two set of bones which are present. Number one is called as the cranial bones. Cranial bones, they form the cranium, the brain box. All right, so number one are the cranial bones. These are the 8 bones, bache. And then there are these another set of bones called as the facial bones, which form the face part of the body, correct, of the skull. So facial bones are 14. All right. So these total to 22 bones. You can see this is, let's say, the brain which is present in a box. So our body also has a protective covering which is called as the cranium. You can see over here, this is the cranium which is protecting the brain. Okay. So let's see the different type of cranial bones first. As I told you, the cranial bones are how many, bache? They are 8 in number. Okay, they form a very hard protective outer covering for the brain. So this is the cranium, all right. These are the bones of the cranium as well as facial. Both are given over here in the diagram. But I will show you a very separate diagram. See, these are the cranial bones first. 8 bones we have to calculate. Okay, let's see the 8 bones. Number 1, frontal. Only one bone, frontal bone. You can see over here the bone which is present over here in the front, which is forming our forehead portion. This is the frontal bone, bone number 1. Number 2 is parietal. These are 2 bones, bache. Okay, these are 2 bones which you can see over here. They are present over here like this way. These are the parietal. See, these pink color. You can see one parietal from here and one parietal from here in the front view. Okay, then there is one bone which is present at the base of the skull over here. This one is called as the occipital bone. This is also number 1, bache. Number 1 as in 1 in number. Single bone. It is present over here at the back of the skull. This is called as the occipital bone. Then there are 2 bones which are present over here, right? They're present over here. These are called as the temporal bones. You can see the temporal bone over here and temporal bone here, temporal bone here. So these are also 2 bones. They are paired, Rajay. Okay. So these 4 bones, they are forming the upper part of the cranium. They are forming the upper part of the cranium. Now, at the base of the skull, all right, at the base of the cranium, there are 2 more bones present, right? Number 1 is sphenoid. You can see over here, this one visible from the front. You can see it is visible over here. This is an H-shaped bone. It is a single bone, so only one. This is sphenoid. And similarly, there is this yellow color bone that is called as the ethmoid. Okay, you can see over here, this is the ethmoid. This is again 1 in number. So now if you count all the bones in total, are you getting number 8? 8 cranium bones, correct? So frontal, 2 parietal, 2 temporal, occipital, 1 sphenoid, 1 ethmoid. These are the 8 bones of the cranium, correct? Now, let's move to the bones of the face. We are going to talk about the bones of the face now. Okay, we are going to talk about the facial bones. Facial bones were how many in number? Facial bones were 14 in number. So we are going to count our total 14 bones. You can see all these bones. They are the facial bones, bache. Okay, so first we'll start with the nasal bone. Nasal bone, you can see these green bones, 2 bones, 1 and 1 over here. So 2 bones which form some part of the nose. These are the nasal bones, correct? Then comes the lacrimal bones. Again, these are paired. They are also 2 in number. So you can see over here these ones which are forming, right, the socket of the eyes. They are present over here. These are the lacrimal bones. They are also 2 in number. Then comes the cheek bones. They are the zygomatic bones, Baba. They are also 2 in number. See, the cheek bones, the bones which are present over here. All right, where the girls, they put up their blushers, right? They are the cheek bones, zygomatic bones, correct? Then comes the 2 bones again, inferior nasal conchae. You can see inferior nasal conchae over here. This is the inferior nasal conchae, see, 2 bones. Then 1 bone called as vomer, all right, which is forming the septum of the nose. See, this is the vomer, all right. Then comes the upper jaw. 2 upper jaws are present. These are called as the maxillae. So see, 2 upper jaws. These are what? Maxillae, upper jaw, all right. And 1 bone which is forming the lower jaw. This is called as the mandible. Okay, 1 bone which is the lower jaw. It is called as the mandible, lower jaw. I hope this part is clear to everyone. All right. So now if you put up a total, are you getting 14? Just put up a total quickly. Are you getting 14? Are the 14 facial bones clear? Are the 14 facial bones done? No. We are still left with 2 bones. 2 bones are called as the palatine bones. They are present over here. See? This part. They form the palate. Okay. They form the palate of the, right, buccal cavity. So 2 more bones. They are not visible over here. All right. They are called as palatine. Palatine bones. They are also 2 in number. So now if you put up a total 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1, that is going to give you your total of 14. Okay, so if we talk about skull, in skull there is 1 set of bone called as the cranial bones which are 8 in number, and there is 1 set of bones which are called as the facial bones. Okay, they are 14 in number. Clear? Now let's talk about the other part. Okay, apart from this, there is 1 more bone called as the hyoid bone. Okay, so there is 1 more bone which is called as the hyoid bone. It is, right now it is not included in the skull. According to the latest NCERT, it is not included in the skull. So hyoid bone is a U-shaped bone. Okay, it is a U-shaped bone called as the hyoid. It is present at the base of the buccal cavity, and this part we will have to exclude. Earlier NCERT used to say that it was included in the skull, but now it is, right, NCERT doesn't comment on this particular thing at all. So we will not consider it under the skull. Okay, we will consider it as a separate bone. So this is hyoid bone, a U-shaped bone. See, it is present over here. All right. It is where the tongue muscles are attached. This hyoid bone is the bone where the tongue muscles are also attached. Okay, now let's come to the next part, right? Then in the skull area itself, in the upper part of the body, there are the bones of the middle ear. And each ear is having 3 bones. Okay, each ear is having 3 bones. So each middle ear contains 3 tiny bones which are called as the ear ossicles. Ossicles means small bones, right? One is the malleus, this is the malleus, this is the incus, and this is the stapes. Malleus is hammer shaped, incus is anvil shaped, and the stapes is stirrup shaped. So they are also called as hammer, anvil, stirrup depending upon their shape. But their actual name is malleus, incus, stapes. So 3 malleus, incus, stapes here, 3 over here, 3 over here. So 3 plus 3 total is how much? 6. All right. So the total is 6. So now if we talk about, right, now if we talk about this particular area. So see, under the axial skeleton, if we talk about this particular area, right, we will see, if we talk about the skull area itself, in the skull region itself, we have seen that there are the cranial bones. So here only I'll put up a total. So let's say this is the skull region. Okay, so we have seen that there are the cranial bones. Cranial bones are how many? They are 8 in number. Okay, then there were the facial bones. All right, there were the facial bones. These are 14 in number. So this gives the total to 22. Okay, apart from this, you can see there is the ear. Okay, 2 middle ears. 2 middle ear, so 3 into 3, sorry, 3 plus 3 will give you 6. And then there is the hyoid bone. Okay, then there is the hyoid bone. Clear? So this is the number of the bones that we have seen which are present in the upper area of the body. Now we are coming to the next set that is called as the vertebral column. Okay, now this is the vertebral column, the backbone that you are able to see. The backbone that you are able to see, that is the vertebral column. So let's talk about the vertebral column now in detail. Okay, let's see the bones of the vertebral column. Okay, now this is the skull. See, this is the skull, and which bone is this? This is the occipital bone we have just discussed. Occipital bone, the skull is attached with the vertebral column. It is attached with the vertebrae. Because there are two places where the articulation of the skull takes place. Okay, there are two places. These, see, there are 2 points of joining of the vertebrae. That is the reason we say that our skull is dicondylic skull. There are 2 areas of articulation called as the occipital condyles. Because there are 2 occipital condyles, that is the reason we call our skull as the dicondylic skull. Okay, our skull is what? It is a dicondylic skull. Right? There are 2 condyles present on the, right, present in the occipital region of the skull. Okay, so now this is the entire vertebral column, you can see, right? This is the entire vertebral column. So entire vertebral column is composed of 26 serially arranged units which are called as the vertebrae. And where are the vertebrae present? They are present on the dorsal side of the body. Dorsal as in the back side of the body. Okay, and they are extending from the base of the skull. They extend from the base of the skull, you can see from here, the base of the skull they are extending, and they constitute the framework of the body. See, see, it is making up the framework of the body. Till here it is present. Correct? So if you want to count the number of bones, if you need to count the number of vertebrae of the vertebral column, what will you note? You will note it as 26. The number of bones we will count over here as 26. Okay, so let's see the various vertebrae. See, this is vertebrae. This is a vertebrae you are able to see. So each vertebrae, let's say this is a vertebrae, okay, then below this one more vertebrae, then below this one more vertebrae, and in between the vertebrae you can see there is a hollow area, hollow cavity that is called as the neural canal. So each vertebrae has a central hollow portion, okay, the central hollow portion you can see, this is called as the neural canal. It is from this, the spinal cord, which is the extension of the brain, okay, the extension of the brain, the spinal cord is present between the, here over here, between the vertebrae. So what is another role of vertebral column? The other role of vertebral column is, apart from providing framework to the body, apart from providing support to the body, okay, it is also protecting our spinal cord. This is another function of the vertebral column. Right? Chalo. Now see, how many vertebrae were present in total? We have counted the number as 26. Okay. So there are 7 vertebrae in the cervical region. In the neck region, there are 7 vertebrae. So we count it as, we call them as cervical vertebrae 7. Okay. Then there are 12 vertebrae in the thorax region. They are called as the thoracic vertebrae. So these ones which are present over here in the thorax region, they are called as the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, 12 over here, bache. Then there are 5 which are present in the lower back area. This area is called as the lumbar area. Okay, so 5 vertebrae present in the lumbar area. Alright, 5 over here. Then there is 1 vertebrae which is called as the sacrum or the sacral vertebrae. This sacrum or sacral vertebrae is actually formed of fusion of 5 vertebrae. But we count it as 1 because the 5 vertebrae, they have fused to form one bone. Okay, so one bone, one vertebrae's name is sacral, right? That is the reason one fused is written. Fused means it is formed of 5 vertebrae which were separate when we were small, but now when we keep on growing, right, when we keep on growing, we become an adult, then these vertebrae, they fuse together to form one strong vertebrae called as sacrum. Similarly, after sacrum, there is one more vertebrae over here. See, this is called as the coccygeal vertebrae or the coccyx. This is one again, and this is also formed of fused. How many fused? 4 fused vertebrae. Okay, so there are 4 fused vertebrae over here and there are 5 fused vertebrae over here. But we count them as 1 and 1, sacral 1, coccygeal 1. So this number, you see, the total is 7 plus 12 plus 5 plus 1 plus 1. So the total gives 26. So there are 26 bones which are forming the vertebral column of our body. The first vertebrae which is joining with the occipital condyles, that is called as the atlas vertebrae, the first vertebrae, and the second vertebrae just below the atlas, it is called as the axis vertebrae. So first vertebrae is atlas and the second vertebrae is axis vertebrae. Right? Okay. So now let's come back to our table. Okay. So let's come back to our table, right? The detail here. Okay. So under vertebral column, how many bones do we put over here now? We will count it as 26 over here. Right? So there is 26. Then let's come to sternum. What is sternum? Sternum is this flat bone, right? The flat bone which is present over here in the chest, okay, in the breast region, that is called as the sternum. So you can see over here, this is the sternum. See, this bone, all right, this bone, this is the sternum. This is one, this is considered as one bone. So the number of cervical vertebrae is 7 in almost all mammals, okay, including humans. So this is one important point. Then the vertebral column, as I told you, it protects the spinal cord, it supports the head, it serves as the point of attachment of the ribs, it attaches the musculature of the back, it gives protection to the body, support to the body, structure to the body. That is the function of the vertebral column. Sternum is a flat bone on the ventral. Ventral is in the front, the midline of the thorax. Okay, so this whole region is called as the thorax portion. It is present in the middle. It is to the sternum that the ribs are directly or indirectly attached. Clear, bache? So sternum, single bone. We are just going to count the number, that is single. Now, the last part which is present under the axial skeleton. Tell me, what is the last part of the axial skeleton? This is the ribs. Okay, there are the ribs. And how many ribs are present? There are 12 pair of ribs that are present in our body. Okay, 12 pair of the ribs, bache. As you can see in the diagram over here, this is the vertebral column. Okay, so one pair of ribs comes out from every thoracic vertebrae. Okay, so let's say this is the thoracic vertebrae. So one pair of ribs will come out from every thoracic vertebrae. It is articulated from there, and in the front it is attached to the sternum by the help of a cartilage. Okay, so you remember there are how many pair of thoracic vertebrae? 12 thoracic vertebrae were there. So from every thoracic vertebrae, one pair of ribs is attached at the dorsal side. And then these ribs, they go to the front part of the body, that is, they come to the ventral part of the body. Some get attached to sternum, some do not get attached to sternum. We will talk about that. So 12 pair of ribs is sorted. Correct? You can see over here, each rib is a thin flat bone which is connected dorsally. Dorsally means at the back to the vertebral column. And it is connected ventrally to the sternum. Ventrally means in the front, it is connected to the sternum. Okay, now every rib on the dorsal side, on the back side where it is attached to the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, at the back side where every rib is connected to the thoracic vertebrae, it is having 2 points of articulation. It is having 2 points from where it is joining the thoracic vertebrae. Because there are 2 points, that is the reason we say that the ribs are bicephalic. Okay, what is the meaning of bicephalic? Again, I am repeating. At the dorsal side, the ribs are attached to the thoracic vertebrae. For attachment to the thoracic vertebrae, there are 2 points of attachment. That is the reason we call the ribs as bicephalic ribs. Okay, so now let's see the ribs, bache. Let's talk about the ribs. So you can see over here, the first 7 pair of ribs. Okay, so type of ribs, how many type of ribs are there? There are 3 type of ribs. One are called as the true ribs. Okay, one is called as the true ribs. What are the true ribs? The first to 7th pair of ribs. The first 7 pair of ribs, they are called as the true ribs. Why? Because they are connected to both the sternum as well as the thoracic vertebrae. Dorsally, at the back, they are attached to the thoracic vertebrae, and in the front portion, you can see they are attached to the sternum. So this is the sternum, beta. Okay, so you can see this is the sternum, right? To the sternum, they are attached by the help of this cartilage, hyaline cartilage. So directly they are attaching with the sternum by the help of a hyaline cartilage. Okay, so this is you can see the first 7 pair. That is the reason they are called as the true ribs. Then, so you can see over here the true ribs over here are also very clearly given. First pair, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and 7th. See, this is the 7th. They are directly attached. Now, the next 3 pair of ribs, that is 8th, 9th and 10th. Okay, the next 3 pair of ribs, the 8th, 9th and 10th, they are not attached directly to the sternum. Okay, so the 8th, 9th and 10th pair of the ribs do not articulate directly with the sternum. Okay, but they join with the 7th rib. So you can see over here. Alright, look at this. This is the 8th. What it is doing? It is fusing with the 7th by the help of the hyaline cartilage. Similarly, this is the 9th going and joining to the 7th. Okay, 10th again going and joining with the 7th. So directly they are not joining with the sternum. They are joining to the 7th rib by the help of a cartilage. And that is the reason these false ribs, these are called as false ribs, and that is the reason they are also called as vertebrochondral ribs. Okay, they are also called as what? They are also called as vertebrochondral ribs. And now comes the last pair. The last 2 you can see over here. Let me just mark them with a different color. These ones, bache. Okay, these ones. See this? This is the 11th pair and this is the 12th pair. These 2 pair of ribs, they are called as floating. Why floating? Because from the back, from the dorsal side, they are joined to the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, this is 11th thoracic vertebrae, this is 12th thoracic vertebrae. They are joined. But in the front, in the ventral position, they are not joining anyone. They are neither joining with the sternum, they are neither joining with the 7th rib. They are not joining anywhere. These ribs, okay, they are not connected ventrally to anything. That is the reason they are called as the floating ribs. Alright, I hope this part is clear. Okay, about the floating ribs also part is clear. So, these are our 12 pair of ribs. You can look at the diagram over here and you can see, right, these 7 are the true ribs. So 1 to 7th pair, correct. Then false ribs are our, right, 8th to 10th pair. All right. And these you can see are the floating ribs. Floating are 11th to 12th pair. Correct. Here they have also marked the floating, but let me just change it. These are, this is, okay, this is supposed to be the floating ribs. These are the floating ones. Okay, so you can see the 3 pair of ribs, they are called as the false ribs. I hope this part is clear to everyone. So ribs total, how much we'll consider? We will consider them as the 12 pair, 12 plus 12, that is 24 in total. Okay, we count them as 24 in total. So now if we go back to our main picture again, you can see over here, what is the total number I'll put up over here? See, right? 1 sternum and ribs constitute how much? They are 24. So now if you add 26 plus 1 plus 24 plus 22 plus 6 plus 1, you will get the total number of axial skeleton. Our total 80 bones of the axial skeleton are complete. Right? I hope this is clear. The axial skeleton is clear to everyone. All 80 bones are clear. Okay, so out of 206, 80 bones are the axial skeleton. Now, there is a very interesting question that is asked, okay, in the exam. Very interesting question, that is, how many bones they comprise the rib cage? Okay, so they ask you a question that how many bones they form the rib cage. So let's find out. Okay, let's find out what is the rib cage. The whole cage that is formed in the thoracic area, okay, which is going to do what? Which is going to protect our internal organs. So rib cage is made up of obviously the ribs, okay, all the ribs, right, plus the thoracic vertebrae from the back. Okay, the thoracic vertebrae only, not all of them, the thoracic vertebrae, plus the sternum. Okay, plus the sternum. So these three bones, set of bones, they are forming the rib cage. Now see, the ribs are how many? 24 bones, correct? Plus thoracic vertebrae are 12. Okay, plus sternum is 1. So in total, how many bones? 37 bones. Okay, bacha, in total, how many? 37 bones are present. I hope this part is clear about the rib cage. Okay, so this is a separate question which is generally asked in the exam. Okay, very common. Now, we have spoken about the axial skeleton. Okay, so now is the time to start with the next part of the skeleton. What is the next part of the skeleton? Now we are going to start with the appendicular skeleton. Okay, appendicular skeleton, you can see all the parts that are present over here. All the parts you can see, this is the appendicular skeleton. The limbs, okay, as well as the girdles. Appendicular skeleton, that is the bones of the limbs, okay, the bones of the limbs along with their girdles, they constitute the appendicular skeleton, and appendicular skeleton itself is made up of 126 bones in total. Okay, 126. So 80 axial, 126 this. So total will be how much? 206. Okay, chalo. Now let's see. Forelimbs. There are two forelimbs. This as well as this. Alright. Then hind limbs. So this as well as this. Correct. Then there is the pectoral girdle. And then there is this pelvic girdle. Okay. So these are the four parts that are present. Now, each limb, each forelimb, right, as well as the hind limb, each of them is made up of 30 bones. So 30 over here, 30 over here, 30 over here, and 30 over here. So here itself you are getting your total how much? 120. So each limb, right, each forelimb as well as each hind limb, you can see it is made up of 30 bones. So first what we'll do, we will count the number of forelimbs as well as the bones we'll see which are present in the forelimbs as well as hind limb. And then we will talk about the girdles. Okay, so you can see over here, this is the bones of the forelimbs. This is the forelimb. So I'll just show you one and then obviously we can multiply it with 2, correct? So the bones of the hand or the forelimbs, number one bone is this, bache. Number one bone is this, right? This is called as the humerus, the bone of the upper arm. So this is humerus, the bone of the upper arm, one bone over here. Then the lower arm, this lower arm is having two bones, okay, radius as well as ulna. So you can see this is radius and this is the ulna, okay. So number one radius, one ulna. This is the lower arm. Then comes the wrist bones. Okay, the bones of the wrist. How many bones are present in the wrist? There are 8 bones. So you can see these are the carpal bones. Carpal bones are how many wrist bones? They are 8 in number. I'll show you the picture also. These are the carpal bones. Okay, then comes the bones of the palm. How many bones are there in the palm? 5. They are called as metacarpals. Okay, so how many bones? Metacarpals, how many? 5. So 8 over here and 5 over here. And then there are our fingers. Fingers are called as digits. Okay, also called as phalanges. Thumb only is having 2. Rest all the 4 fingers are having 3 bone each. So 2 in the thumb, then 3, 3, 3 and 3. So total is how many? 14 bones in the fingers. You can see over here, the thumb bones are 2, right? This one, and then 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 and 3, 3, 3 in the phalanges. Okay, I'll just show you a close view also. See, this is humerus, this is radius and ulna. Alright, you can see the carpal, 8 carpal bones. These are the metacarpals, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Alright, and these are the phalanges. 2 of the thumb, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. These are the phalanges. Right? So if you put up a total over here, see, if you put up a total over here, how much you're getting? 30. So 30 bones of the forelimb. 30 over here and 30 obviously on the other side. The 30 bones are done. Now, if we talk about hind limbs, okay, now if we talk about our legs, the hind limbs, now see, each hind limb also, right, the legs also, they are made up of 30 bones. So let's see their bones. First, femur, the longest bone of the body, thigh bone. This is femur, bache. Alright, this is 1 in number. Then again, over here in the lower leg portion, there are again 2 bones. One is called as the tibia, which is a comparatively bigger bone, stronger bone, right? And then there is a thin bone called as fibula, which is present along. So 1 fibula and 1 tibia. Okay, you can see over here, this is the tibia, thicker one, and the thinner one is called as the fibula. Then there are ankle bones, which are called as tarsals. How many ankle bones? 7 ankle bones. Feet bones are metacarpals. Feet bones are metacarpals. How many? Again 5 in number. And just like the hands, the fingers of the legs, okay, the toes of the legs, they are also 14 in number. The toe bone, the bigger toe is 2 and then 3, 3, 3 and 3. Similar to the hands. Correct? So 14 over here. Now, if you put up a total, you will not get 30, okay? You will get only 29. That means we are missing out one more bone. Which is that bone? The bone of the kneecap, right? The patella. This is the bone of the kneecap. So, see, patella is 1 in number. Now, if you count all the bones, you will see that the total falls to how much? The total falls to 30. So, 30 bones of the leg, right? 30 over here, 30 over here. Our total of hind limbs itself is 60. See, femur, patella, tibia and fibula, right? And tarsals you can see, bache. The ankle bones you can see 7 in number. The metatarsals you can see they are 5 in number. Okay, and the phalanges you can see, these ones, they are how much? 14 in number. 2 over here and 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 and 3, 3, 3. Right? So 30, 30, 30, 30. How much is the total? The total is 120. 120 bones of the limbs are done. So now we are left with how many bones in total? We are just left with 6 more bones. Okay, so we have completed all 200 bones. We are just left with 6 more bones. And these 6 bones, bache, they are present in the girdle. Right? Where are they present? They are present in the girdle. So let me just bring the total over here. So 4 limbs, 2 forelimbs, right? Total 60. 2 hind limbs, total how much? 60. Now pectoral girdle, this is the shoulder, bache, the shoulders, and the pelvic girdle, that is the hip portion that we are going to discuss. The pectoral girdle is having 4 bones in total. pelvic girdle is having 2 bones in total. Okay, so I just told you the name of the bones right now, but we will see it over here. So first I'm going to show you the pectoral girdle. Okay, so now how exactly the limbs of that is the hind limbs as well as the forelimbs, how they are joining with the axial skeleton. There has to be some point of attachment, no? Okay, so who is helping in that attachment? It is the girdles. See, the pectoral girdle and the pelvic bones, they help in the articulation of the upper and the lower limbs respectively. So this is the pectoral girdle, correct, to which the upper limb joins, and this is the pelvic girdle to which the lower limb, that is the legs, they actually join. Okay, so this is the pectoral girdle. Each girdle is formed of 2 halves. So this is pectoral girdle entirely, right? This is one half of the pectoral girdle and this is the other half of the pectoral girdle. So each girdle is formed of 2 halves, right? And each half of the pectoral girdle is made up of 2 bones. So there are 2 bones over here and 2 bones over here. 1 clavicle, 1 scapula, 1 clavicle, 1 scapula. So total 4. Okay, clavicle is this bone, see? This bone, collar bone, this bone in the collar, that is called as the clavicle, and the triangular bone, right, which is present in the dorsal side of the body, this is called as the scapula. So 1 clavicle, 1 scapula, 1 clavicle, 1 scapula. So total how many bones? 4 bones, they form the pectoral girdle. See? Right? Clavicle is clear. Now scapula. Scapula is a large triangular flat bone which is situated on the dorsal side of the thorax, and it is present between the 2nd and the 7th rib. Okay, so where exactly is the position? Where exactly is the position of the scapula? The 2nd and the 7th rib. Okay, where the 2nd and the 7th rib is present, at that position the scapula is present in the body. Scapula is a triangle bone. Okay, so the dorsal flat triangular body of the scapula has a elevated ridge which is called as the spine. So this is the spine. If you look at the back side of the scapula, you will see there is the spine. And the spine only, it extends further to form this type of a structure. This is called as the acromion. Okay, you can see this is called as the acromion. It forms a flat expanded process called as the acromion process. Acromion process is visible, right? The spine is visible from the dorsal side. So at the back, the spine will be present. Spine only extends to form the acromion. This is the part of the scapula only we are discussing. Correct? Now, below the acromion, okay, so this is the acromion. This whole thing is the scapula. Below the acromion, there is a depression like this. Okay, there is a depression like this. This depression is called as the glenoid cavity. Right? This is called as the glenoid cavity. So let's say this is a depression, glenoid cavity, and it is to the depression that the head of the humerus. What is humerus? Humerus is this bone. So it is here that the head of the humerus is going to come and join this way. See, this is the depression and this is the head of the humerus. So they are going to come and join, and this will be our shoulder joint. Okay, so this joint that I'm showing, this is formed by the glenoid cavity as well as the head of the humerus. Correct? Right? And this is clavicle. Clavicle is a long slender bone. It is having 2 curvatures. From here it is joined with the sternum. From here it is joined with the the scapula. So these are 2 curvatures of the collarbone, also called as the clavicle. So 1 clavicle, 1 scapula, 1 clavicle, 1 scapula. This is our pectoral girdle, right? This is our shoulder girdle. Now, if we talk about our, hip girdle, okay, if we talk about our pelvic girdle, or we talk about the hip region, the pelvic girdle, it consists of 2 bones. So this, see, the pelvic girdle is made up of 2 bones. See, these are the 2 bones I'm trying to show. This is 1 bone, right? This is 1 bone and this is the other bone. The 2 bones are called as, these bones are called as the coxal bone, okay, or we also called as the innominate bones. Innominate bones. Okay, so either you can call them as coxal bones or you can also call them as innominate bones. Now, each of this coxal bone, right, it is also formed of fusion of 3 bones, right? So let's say this is the whole coxal bone. It itself is formed by fusion of 3 bones. Number 1, ilium. Okay, this right purplish color bone, ilium. Number 2, ischium, the ischium bone on which we actually sit. When we sit down, right, we rest actually on ischium. And the third bone which is present over here in the front, this is called as the pubis. Okay, the pinkish color. So ilium, ischium, pubis fuse over here to form one coxal bone. Ilium, ischium, pubis fuse over here to form the second coxal bone. Both the coxal bones, they fuse together, they join together, and they are called as the pelvic girdle. So ilium, ischium, pubis, they join like this and they are called as the pelvic girdle. Right? In the front portion, okay, in the ventral portion, you can see over here, the ilium, ischium, pubis, right, they are joined by this structure. Okay, this is called as the pubic symphysis. So you can see over here, I'll talk about this thing. Okay, so now this thing, right, a cartilage is present over here. This is called as the fibrous cartilage. This fibrous cartilage is pubic symphysis. Okay, this is to join the bones ventrally. Okay, to join the girdles ventrally. Now during delivery, when the females, right, they have to deliver a baby, this pubic symphysis under the influence of the hormone relaxin, okay, this pubic symphysis, it becomes little relaxed. Okay, so that the area of the pelvic girdle is little widened up, which helps in the easy movement of the baby. So the baby is very easily moved out through the pelvic girdle. Correct? Right? So this is pubic symphysis. Now, you will say, ma'am, where the femur is attached? Okay, where the femur is attached? Here, bache, here. At the point of junction where all the 3 bones are meeting. Okay, where all the 3 bones are meeting, there is a depression over here. See, this depression. This depression is called as acetabulum. Just like glenoid cavity was present in the pectoral girdle. Okay, similarly, the same type of depression called as acetabulum is also present. And it is at this depression that the head of femur is coming and joining. So you can see over here, right? This is acetabulum, the socket, and the femur is coming and joining. This is acetabulum, the socket, the femur is coming and joining. So the femur bone articulates into the acetabulum cavity. I hope this part is clear, right? So this is about the girdles. So 2 coxal bones, they join together to form the pelvic girdle, right? So the number of pelvic girdle is 1. Pectoral girdle also number is 1. But pectoral girdle is made up of 4 bones and pelvic girdle is made up of 2 bones. Okay, so now if you do our total, we will get our bones. Okay, if we do our total, see, of the appendicular skeleton, 60 plus 60 plus 4 plus 2, you are getting the total how much? 126. Correct? 126 bones of the appendicular skeleton and 80 bones of the axial skeleton. So appendicular and axial, both of this, they join together to form our skeletal system in total. See, they join to form our skeletal system in total. 80 axial and 126 appendicular. So in total, you put up a plus, you will get 206 bones. Right? Interesting. So in this session, we have wrapped up all the bones of the body, right? All 206 bones of the body, right? Now, if we are able to pick up some questions, okay, if you just pick up these questions from the PYQs, you will be able to solve all the questions because directly from the NCERT lines, we are getting question in our NEET exam. All right. So your homework is to revise all these bones, revise all 206 bones, and then we will be confident enough to solve all the questions. So kids, this is all about your skeletal system. We have wrapped up all 206 bones. Now, your homework is to please revise this part from your NCERT, solve all previous year questions, right? And we are now in a very confident position to solve all the questions. All right, we'll see you again with the next topic. Bye. Till then, take care and see you. Bye-bye. See you guys. Bye.